1, 2, hello everybody. Adam Steele from Pop Studios here. Let me just check that. There we go. Hope you're all doing well. I'm starting to settle in finally to my new office, and it's time to carry on with mixing the SkyeAsylum album. I now have the second song called Everything I have the files for, and I might just be able to run a lot of these and reamp them through some of my very favourite amps, which I have behind me, behind the pile of mess. I've not finished moving in here, so it's oh my word, this room looks like a bomb just went off, apart from, you can't see that bit, which is fine. But yes, hello. If you want me to reamp stuff, I've got the PV5150 Mark 1 and I've got the Mesa Dual Rectifier Road King, which, considering this album has some big chunky guitar sounds, might just be exactly what we need. Now let's roll the intro. Now, I have a nice glass of wine. I hope you'll join me if you are of legal drinking age with a drink, as long as it is reasonably responsible to do so. Don't do that if you're in the middle of driving. If you're in the middle of driving, why are you watching this? But yeah. It is evening here. It is relaxing time. I have been very productive today. I've edited a whole series for Riff Hard. Filled in an application form for a £5,000 grant, which hopefully will help the studio, because we've lost business because the studio is physically closed. Spent an hour going cross-eyed on the phone with the accountants, like you do. Ooh, lovely people. But just, the things they need to know that just, make my eyes go funny. Anywho, yes, I am glad that you are all doing well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I will eventually show you the screen setup that I've going here, because this is insane. I now have 4 screens in front of me, and this is getting wonderfully silly. My left screen shows me OBS and everything that you're going to see as it goes out. This screen, the second screen, shows me Reaper. Third screen is now showing me the YouTube live feedback in the chat, so I can see you all there. Hello, everybody. And right now there's just Spotify on screen number 4, but that's going to change. Not sure what I need screen number 4 for yet, but it's good to have it there. Maybe if we end up with any guests, that might sort that out. Anyway, let's stop yapping and find the button for... There we go. Moving on to this screen. Hello, everybody. Make yourselves at home. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And yeah, this is the project file for the previous song, The Arcane. And I'm going to play through this one more time, because this has become now the bar. This is the benchmark for the rest of the album. And I opened it and it sounded really weird. The guitars, for some reason, the Lindell 80 channel had completely reset. And I do not know why. Noise off. Yeah, I'm going to turn up the oversampling because it's on distorted guitars. But yeah, I don't know why this had completely reset. In fact, I don't even know where you can put a preset in this particular plugin. Can you use presets? If so, where are they? And am I just being stupid? Because that's entirely a possibility. Oh, it's right at the top. Okay. It could just be that it had a mad moment because I needed to reactivate my plugins. But that could be a stark warning to everybody. Every month you have to reactivate your Plugin Alliance plugins, which includes the Lindell. All the other Plugin Alliance plugins kept all their settings. Maybe it was just that. I don't know. Could be a bug. I'll tell them. But yeah, let's have a quick listen to this. I had to try and rematch the rhythm guitar tone to the previous. Let's just check. Oh, it's a different plugin on that guitar group. And what about the verse guitars? The Lindell 80 channel. Oh, this one seems to be completely reset as well, but I don't know if I was doing that much with these, so it actually might work out for the best there. But let's listen to this in one go. Amazing. So we're getting up to the integrated LUFS of like -9, -8, but there's no limiting happening at all apart from the snare hits. That's wonderful. So what we're going to do now is we're going to save this because it sounds good. We are going to go to save project as, and we're going to go to call this SkyeAsylum everything. And this is where we're going to get a little bit crazy, and we're going to just delete. Now that I know confirmed top left, this is a new file, I'm going to delete everything. Whoa there, he says. Yes, quite. Make sure that's always muted. And we're going to clear out our automations. Anything that's been automated up to this point. We're going into the little cog and clear envelope. Because all those little automation points were for the previous song. But what I want to keep is the structure of this project and keep all the plugins that we have. They may or may not work, these plugins. We need to unlock all these and delete them too. Delete, 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 overheads, just clear envelope, yes. Clear envelope, yes. Whenever you clear an automation envelope, whatever that volume was, Did I do this mix entirely on the Slate headphone system? Yes, I did. And I'm really happy with these. Honestly, I mean, I've checked the mix on John Brown's Amphions. I've checked it on the Adam A7Xs with subwoofers. I've checked it in quite a few different places just to be sure. And the result keeps coming back that it's a good mix and one that I should be happy with. So I've chosen to just leave it well alone. Right, now the drum decapitator mix through most of the song looks like it's around 30 something percent. So I'm going to keep this automated, but just delete these extra points out here and just make this one set level apart from when I don't want that. I'm going to clear out that envelope. I can always add automation envelopes back in later. You see how I've still got all this stuff that needs to be deleted. Delete. Right, so, and also even get rid of the region markers. There we go. And I'm going to open up the mix window briefly before we even start adding tracks. I'm going to turn off most of my mastering chain other than the Shadow Hills Class A. The Shadow Hills Class A is, if I had a real one, I would mix through that. Do you mix this? Yeah, so yeah, the Slate VSX is absolutely incredible. I'm on the latest update. I need to make an update video for it. But honestly, it's just been beyond good. Like, not even funny. It just... it shocked me how good it is. So, anyway. I don't see anything here for... I'm going to drop in all these files just at the start of a bar. I don't see any clue for BPM, so I might have to work that out in a second. Start these on a bar. Not the first bar, never the first bar. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. And it's put these in a really weird order. Gee, thanks, Windows. Yeah, why has it done these in a completely random order? That's irritating as all hell. Okay. So I've got room, left, center, right. I'm going to move down. And they're in a very different order to how I had them anyway. So room center goes there. Room right, room left. Let's just play a little bit of this. Right. All of these need to be played back at rate 1. Let's get the metronome on. Right, let's change the project settings so things don't just... Project settings so that things should be in time. Hopefully that means that things won't just move around. Is it 70 BPM? Let's find out. Yeah, 72 is quite a common BPM actually. Right, so right, where have my overheads gone? Where have my overheads gone? Do. Let's get you in there. Move that up to some space. This is really annoying how it's done these in such a weird order. Right hats and right. Let's move everything up one. Because they should be hats left and right. Floor toms are in the right place now. That's good. Let's give some space. Hats left. This should give us quite a quick, rough balance. So, should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they should be there. They should be there. Right, okay, so let's just check the levels. I'm just going to close this. Going to use the new project tab and open up the other project, the Arcane, because I'm guessing that I'm guessing that I took the levels down of everything, because that sounds like something that I would do, probably by about 10 dB. So, hello Marty. Yeah, I did. How much did I take them down by? Probably uniformly 10 dB, 10.2. Yep, okay. So, yep, looks like that's what I've done. Did I do that with the trigger? Yeah, I did actually. But it looks like the trigger might not need that this time, looking at this particular thing. The trigger is only triggering another trigger for me. I wasn't a big fan of the trigger sound. Here we go. Ah. It's 145 BPM. Okay, so with 72, I was actually only half a BPM out. That's fine. 145, because I've measured it in half beats. And hello, Mr. SkyeAsylum, by the way. I don't know if you want me using your stage name. But there we go. Trappa. That's sounding really good. Let's bring in the bass. Where's the bass? We've got... Why have we got 2 bass tracks? Let's find out. Separate tracks. Okay, so the DI goes there, bass goes there. Yeah. To be fair, the only reason that I really need, as a mix engineer, the only reason that I need... come on, brain. I'm going to cheat here and I'm going to use child tracks. I'm going to make 2 more tracks and shove them underneath. There we go. Now, unless this is a drastic change in sound, these are now folded up into the main track, so they just take over. Beefy. Let's see what I've got going on here. Ah, right. So that's confusing it because that's right. I just got rid of the original processed bass tracks and used the DI. Right, yeah. So I'm using a pre-effects send. Yeah. There we go. Too many things going on at once. I've just booked a studio for Friday for a thing that I can't tell you all about just yet. Now there's too many of those things happening around now, but yeah. Hopefully a lot of these things that I've not been able to tell you about will come to fruition very shortly. So that's a nice little shortcut, stripping silence. Ah, that's why things sound weird, because I stripped. Huh. Right, when I did the time remapping, that is actually the end of the song there, but Reaper has looped them because I was messing around with the time of the tempo map before. It kept the length of the file thing. It's at the end. That is the end of that. Okay. Sorry, I'm also slightly getting used to my new setup because I'm using a program called Synergy where I move the mouse from here and you can see my big purple mouse. If I move it off the screen, it appears on the next screen on the next computer, which is, yeah, genius, but also a little bit weird to get used to. It's like getting used to an automatic car when you've driven a manual for years. It's easy to do, but the adjustment period is a little weird. I drove my dad's Audi automatic for a little while, and I had to sit on my left leg a little bit so I didn't keep reaching for the clutch. But yes, this is sounding beefy. Now, I have a lot of guitars to go at here. I've got guitar C, guitar H. I'm just going to have a guess that these are our... Yeah, guitar C is guitar chorus, and it looks like that's the case. Ah, no, C is clean. And it looks like they should be at -10 as well. Let's put them on the clean channels. Ooh. In that case, is guitar H guitar heavy? Let's find out. Let's put these on separate tracks. Oh, what am I doing? Cancel. What was that? There we go. I accidentally slipped on something. But yeah, -10-ish. Right, as I'm bringing everything in, I'm starting to feel like maybe that kick drum might have too much click for this song. But that's fine, that's an easy thing to make it softer. Let's have a listen to these guitars in separate. Right, so unlike the guitars that I had previously, I'm not a fan of these. I don't know if it's a different guitar DI or whatever it is, but there's something about these guitars that just it's quite ill-defined and flubby. But I do, looking at it, have the DI tracks, and it sounds a lot like a dual rectifier. Now, I'm very lucky that I have what I consider to be the ultimate dual rectifier behind me, which is, and it's out of focus, right? Wrong button, sorry everyone. It is the dual rectifier Road King. The third channel on that thing is a wonder, and we're going to use it later on, I think. But yeah, with the effects on, with the EQ and everything, this sounds good. But there's just something about it that isn't right in there. There's kind of a honk, and it's something that if I just take these points out, yeah, it's not bad, but there's something about it. It might be the cab choice. Whatever it is about that, there's something that just would take a lot of work. And it feels like either it's a different tone from the previous song, or the tone doesn't fit the tempo of the song, if you know what I mean. It's a subtle thing, but this is what we do here. This is our thing. Now, there's a guitar dive as well. So let's get the guitar dive in on some of these tracks that were labeled new guitar, separate tracks. These look like they might need a bit more volume. Chugger indeed. Hello, Danny. Welcome to the stream. This is SkyeAsylum, as you'll be able to tell from the intense metal. But yeah, let's bring the volume of this fader up. I do have the DIs for those as well. And I've also got guitar leads. Now, guitar lead should be pretty cool. I've managed to spell out with a SpongeBob guitar lead. Let's get these in here. Hopefully I won't need to reamp these either, but hello, person Gianluca Tixon. That's a tricky one to read out, but yeah. Hello, hope you're doing well. Welcome. Let's have a listen to this. These should be, let's bring up the mixer. Hard pan left and right, and let's see what we get here. Sounding good already. It's very mushy, but that's easily fixed with scooping all the low end out. It's a bit radio effecty. But that's okay. That's just something that a quick EQ will fix. So yes, Marty, Synergy takes the keyboard over as well. As long as the mouse is on the screen of the other machine, then the keyboard is over there as well. It's a really useful KVM system type thing. That lead really reminds me of Devin Townsend. I like it. Guitar HL, HR, got the DIs in there, got the dive guitars, which sound like they just need more volume. Guitar leads are in there too. Now we're on to strings left and right. Now in that case, I will delete these 3 channels because they're just hogging up CPU. Yeah, it does sound great, and this is what happens when you work with really good artists that I've not had to do very much here. So I've got strings left and strings right. I'm gonna do the cheeky thing of making 2 tracks here subfolded to something I already had, and make sure that they start at the right place. Do they start on the right bar? They do. They're really loud, so I'm going to take them down. I did a video recently on gain staging. If you've not seen that, check that out. That'll help you understand why I'm turning everything down. And if I bring up my mixer, I should be able to hard pan these left and right, because personally I prefer stereo files, but this is fine. Let's listen to it. You are supposed to be seeing Reaper. Thank you everybody for the feedback there. I was showing you the dual rec and then something happened. But yes, sorry. I think everybody got there at the same time with the feedback. So thank you everybody. Yes, Derp. Do feel free to say things about stuff like that because it's so obvious. But I think I've got too many screens going on now. So, yeah. Yes, gain staging is what defines if the mixing will be enjoyable or suffering. It's so true. If I've got the gain levels right going into everything, I'm not fighting turning this down, turning that down at the wrong points. Yes, so... Right, there's a bit of a radio effecty thing going on these strings, but I've taken the compression down on them because they didn't need nearly so much. There we go. So because the heavy guitar's taking up that 1K-ish range, there's a frequency range there on the quite aggressive strings, which I've had to pull out a bit, but quite a narrow curve there, that 800 hertzy thing. Yeah, the kick is quite loud. I wonder if that's because I removed the, the volume automation level. Let's take it down by several dB. Yeah, so I had a high frequency boost on the kick for the previous song, which was much faster and higher energy. So I've taken that down and also taken a little bit of the low boost out of the kick, because hopefully it doesn't need so much. There we go. So if you missed the start of this stream, Gianluca, I did say that I don't like the sound of these guitars so much. Those ones, so I'm going to reamp them, which is why I was on the main camera. I'm going to start warming up the Earthquaker plumes and I have to climb over this pile of stuff, the Road King. There we go. I feel almost entirely like a drunk man because I'm having to teeter and totter around boxes and piles of stuff down on the floor here that are just off camera. Now, yeah, I said I don't like the sound of these, but what I'm going to do is unmute one of these. I've just turned on the Road King. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete out these guitars, and I'm just going to set record monitoring going on analog 1 here. You can hear the lovely noise coming. That's the reamp chain in action at maximum. Oh my god! So let's just send this out of analog 3. No. That's going to cause a horrible, hideous feedback loop. Lovely. So yeah, I don't always reamp guitars. If I like the sound of them and I think they fit the song, and even if I have the DIs, I don't have to do that. I know that in some mixing circles, it's become just the thing that you do. But I'm not a fan of that, so I'm going to turn that EQ off. And I'm going to put a gate in here just to shut that up firstly. A Reaper gate at the start. Just to shut that up. And I'm going to put wall of sound in here with one of my cabs. All right. All right, so these can be linked. Let's go with the bass the big beast. All the guitars on every song are Sims. That's fine. That's the thing. A lot of guitar snobs are like, oh, that'll never work. But on the previous song, on the Asylum, it worked perfectly. I don't know if it's the slower tempo here or just choice of cab or whatever it is, but there's something, especially in the mids on this guitar tone that we had, that's just overbearing is the word I would use. So I'm just going to set this up with an SM57 and nothing else, off center a little bit with overload. So I've put the effect here of wall of sound. I'm gonna put this just after the gate in stereo on the rhythm group channels here, which is a little bit of a weird way to do it. But let's just play this back just with that guitar DI soloed in this rhythm guitar and see what tone we get. So that should be going out of analog 3. I might need to check my ID software. Oh, that's right. I'm just going to have to cut to the camera for a second and exit out of this because I uninstalled the ID software earlier because I was having a kind of a clash with the Evo software. I think the two of them installed together were not playing happily together, but it seems like the audio driver interface was still happy. So where's ID? ID. Come on. The quicker this gets back up, the quicker we can carry on what we were doing with the mix. There we go. So there's the ID software. So many emails while I'm trying to stream. Go away. So we've got this, and I usually have this with the system panel. Yeah, so that DAW 3 and 4 have straight through. And what that means is that if in Reaper I decide to just send a track out of analog 3, for instance, it doesn't then try and go through anything awkward. It doesn't have to go through a mixer of any hardware or software kind. It just goes straight out, which is exactly what I want, is to keep it simple. Num num num, tasty wine. YouTube's having a fit because when I went to the camera, it jumped up to 10 megabit, but because I've got this lovely new internet, so I can stream 4K, which will come soon, then yes. Yeah, John Lucas says, every time I get multi-tracks, I'll try and use the recorded amps first. Yeah, that's what I do. Because sometimes it just works. And if it just works, then the artist's intent should be kept. Wow. That is bright as you like. So I know that our Lindell is brightening that up, so I'm going to take that down. Okay, good question from Pierre Chiaccio. Sorry if this question's too basic. That's fine. Questions are good. How much do you generally stick to the mix of the previous song when mixing a whole album? As much as is artistically possible is my answer. You start getting into mixing as an art rather than a science. If you just copy and paste the same mix and don't change anything, you can get in trouble quickly. I like as much as possible with an album and with a band to find a core sound for one song and then try and replicate that feel. Now, if that means I can use the same drum sound across every song, great. But you might find that there's the odd song like a ballad or something that doesn't quite fit, that you then have to really pull your mixing skills out and go and change things just a little to match the feel of the other song without using the exact same settings. So that's actually quite a difficult question, and yeah, good one. Now I'm going to find the longest bit of this guitar that I can, and I'm just going to loop this a little bit. This is being recorded and we're live monitoring it through Wall of Sound. So let's actually get a ribbon on here with the 57 because that'll make it chunky sounding. Actually, first thing, I'm just going to make this center pan so that you can hear it down the middle. And let's just turn the output volume down to this because I'm adding more in. And as you add more, the volume gets louder, which isn't ideal, but that's just kind of, that's how physics works. So the big beast, ribbon 101, dead center, a little bit of overload, equal volume to the 57. That's not sounding bad. I'm just going to make sure this is on loop. And I'm going to play with the amp controls a little because from the previous track that I mixed, looks like the presence is quite high, which is partly why we've got that going on. I might try the valve rectifier rather than the solid state rectifier. I'm just going to move over if these headphones reach without knocking the wine glass over. Famous last words. And the treble's a little high, mids are a bit high. Bass is also high, but that's fine. We're on modern mode, which is the only way to work really with the dual rectifier. Let's try it. That sounds like a beast. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to just gently tweak the gate here. The gate. I need to send guitar up. I need to send the DI to the gate channel on 3 and 4 to stop that chattering and make sure this is on auxiliary input. There we go. That'll shut it up. But yeah, amps get noisy when you run them this loud, and I'm using the tube tracking so they sound a bit thicker and a bit mushier. This is probably going to sound massively out of time when I do this because we're going through all this processing on the guitar channel. I just want to hear what it sounds like in mixed context as we record the DI in. It's going to sound in mono because we're doing one guitar. Then we're going to hard pan it and run the other one in. So this is going to sound a little weird at first and slightly out of time, but then the system knows how out of time it is and will correct it. Let's have a listen. we go. Now that cut out a little bit before the fade there. That's to do with the gate after the recording, so I might just bring that down a bit because that's not baked onto that recording. We can play with that later. Hi, Benj in chat. Welcome everybody who's shuffling in while we do some reamping with the Road King. I think that's going to sound huge in a minute when we record the other guitar, hard panned. But yeah, someone in chat, there we go. Let's just change that. I know I'm not focused, but we'll change that. Someone in chat said that's a lot of processing on the guitars. It isn't though. It looks like a lot, but like the gate and the wall of sound, that's a gate like you would use something like a 14 Zool or a Boss noise gate or whatever. And the cab sim is if I was in Studio A, I would be recording this with the real cab, so they wouldn't be plugins at all. So that's the first part. Oh, it's looking like it's a little bit herky-jerky, but we seem to be back to normal. The first EQ here is just to notch anything and have a high pass filter. The tape machine, if I was recording on a real tape, then which I would like to do, then that wouldn't be a plugin either. True Iron is giving it a transformer feeling, which is what happens when I do try and slam my preamps in the studio, which again, if this was analog, that wouldn't be a plugin at all. So I do have the Lindell channel strip, and I don't even have the gate and compressor on. Right now, this is just a tiny mid boost, tiny mid cut, and a filter. And track spacer is the real MVP. Right now, that's doing nothing, but as soon as the vocals are in there, it gives the vocals a little bit of magical frequency-specific space. So there you go. Will you be uploading mixing epic prog metal on YouTube's videos? I don't know if you're aware of how live videos work on YouTube, but every time I finish a stream, it is on YouTube. It just is. There's no need for me to publish it separately. It's just there. There it is. Nice and easy. So let's hard pan these now. Make sure that both of these are there. There we go. And let's see how this sounds on the other side. Again, the right hand side here will be out of time. It will be behind until after we've reamped it. And then once it's reamped, then we'll do some fine tuning EQ sculpting. Can't find the streams. They are definitely on the channel. Look on our channel or look under the playlist of live mix streams. Search for Mixing Epic Prog Metal on my channel. Look at the videos that we've done over the last 2 months. They are there. Just listening back as we track this, I can hear a low mid build up, and I don't want to take it out on the amp. I want to take it out after the amp. So I think it's there. Awesome. That is sounding righteous. Just turn that off there. Well done, Mr. Road King. Pull tech trick might help. No, the pull tech trick will not help with what I'm hearing. Also, if you've not tuned into the live streams before, just a polite reminder that this is not a crowd mixes stream. This is me showing you what I'm doing. Feel free to ask questions. Please, by all means, ask as many questions as you want, but please no backseat mixing. I'm doing this my way after more than a decade of doing it this way, and I'm here to explain to you how I do things. Whether you agree with me or not, you are perfectly welcome not to, and that is absolutely fine. But just be aware this is educational from me to you, and Yeah. Just gonna get the focus back on me there. Literally doing it the wrong way, making it worse. Wish the autofocus on this thing autofocused when you weren't recording. That's close enough, that'll do. Camilo, thank you very much. Yeah, good to see you. Cheers. Right, yeah, it's close enough to being in focus for the tiny little thing in the bottom corner. Now, let's have a listen to this. This is, for a start, far too loud in the mix now. So, this is a common mistake that every guitarist mixer makes. Very common. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this guitar boost down. I'm going to turn my headphones up so when the guitars are not loud enough but everything else sounds great, then I'm going to slowly bring in the guitar level until it sits and then not push it any further. If I mute them, nothing triggers. There we go. Now that's not sounding bad. It's a little bit hashy, is the on the top. So I'm going to bring in the filter on top and I'm going to search now for a couple of rogue frequencies. There's my rogue frequencies fixed, and they're far too specific for anything analog emulation-y. That lead is killing me. Right, this is all starting to come together very quickly, but those toms need trimming because there's loads of overhead on them. Oh. That is the tom microphones. Think about, where did all that low tom come from? That's supposed to be the top tom. Hello, Nick. Let's just have a listen to this top tom. So it looks like that might be yeah, so I'm going to take snap off. These toms need cleaning manually, and it makes all the difference. So I need to cut exactly right before the hit. And after the second hit, I fade it out. So it goes doom doom. There we go. And now I look for the next hit. There it is. And I use S for snap to get rid. S for split. Because then I can move that up there somewhere. Just delete a big block. This is going to take me a little while. So if anyone's got any questions, now's a really good time for me to answer something while I mindlessly trim toms for the next 5 minutes. Oh, if you accidentally hit S for split on all the other stuff, the bleed on these toms is way too high. Okay, so something that John Brown asked me last week is, there's loads of bleed here. Shouldn't I cut this? And my answer was no. Let the tom ring for as long as it needs to ring. Any extra noise is just incidental to that. As luck would have it, that rings long enough that it doesn't sound weird just cutting it. There we go. There's just so much overhead bleed here. We'll hear the night and day difference when we've cleaned these up. This is going to sound so much nicer. New house is good. Family's good. New house we're still moving into. Do I use micro pitch shift chorus on bass? Quite often I do. It's a very Andy Wallace thing, and I'm a big fan of Andy Wallace. Thoughts on the Slate mix package? It's brilliant. I use it all the time. Surprisingly less so on these mixes. It just so happens that I've gravitated away from them for the time being, but for me that's flavor of the month. You'll see on the verse vocals there's a virtual mix rack right there with a 76 and a 2A and a custom series lift. I do still use them a lot on vocals because it does things that I like. But then, being in the rather lucky position that I am in, I have pretty much all of them to go at. I've not actually got hold of the DSP stuff yet. That needs to go on a little longer, just so it's got digga digga. Okay, next. That's as long as that one needs to go, and it looks like that's the end of it, I hope. I think that's the next tom over. Yeah, that's the next tom over causing this to ring. That's sympathetic resonance, everybody. There we go. That's why when I tune toms, real life... All right, stop. When I tune real life toms, I tune them in such a way that there's less sympathetic resonance. I know a lot of drummers like toms when the heads are tuned equally, so that they give a lovely dong that rings for days. For engineers, that is hell. We hate it. No thank you. So I tune them so they go do and stop. What point do I roughly cut my lows and guitar channels for this kind of music? That's not a very good question, Lucian, unfortunately, because it depends on the genre. It depends on what the guitars have. It depends on the speed of the song. And And then you just have to go by ear. If the cab was mic'd up and it's really woofy, then I'll probably go a lot higher than you would think, because if it's going chug, 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 then I can get away with murder and I can go quite high, like 200 hertz-ish, and it still feels heavy. 1176 into 2A, that's a classic rock vocal chain. It's called serial compression. Serial compression is the future. And also the past. It's been done for years and years. Serial compression is where you use two compressors into one another, both doing a fair amount of what each compressor does best. 1176s are incredibly fast, incredibly grabby. They catch plosives and sibilants and catches. LA2As are much softer, smoother, rounder, richer, give you a much more overall level control. I like the qualities of both, so I run one into the other and I get the qualities of both. So yeah. Easy Peasy says, I tune my toms in more of a jazz sound, high top toms, low floor toms, and a ringy doof from the kick. Then I'm guessing you're not an engineer by trade. Try recording that a lot and then tell me that you like it. It's awful when you put microphones on it. That's something I learned long ago, is that none of the sounds that I get from any of my instruments are designed to be what I like necessarily just in the room, because that's just, if you want to be in a band context, that's selfishness personified. What you're best off doing is get something so that it makes everybody's life easy. If it sounds great on the microphones, if it sounds great in the mix, everybody is going to love you and it's going to make everybody's lives easier. If you're a solo drummer, cool, you do you. If you're if you're working on your own material, do what you want. I'm not your dad, but you will honestly find that you are making your own life difficult. And have I tried neural stuff? Yes, it's good stuff. I much prefer to use the real thing if I can, just because I can, really. There's nothing wrong with sim stuff. I used Sims for years. Neural are very much at the top of the pack right now in terms of quality of amp sims. You can, with a lot of care and attention, get a neural amp to sound better than a lot of real amps. It takes a lot of work though, because you don't have the thing with the instant feedback. With a real amp, I can have my hands on the controls, and there is something about tactile response with the headphones on, where I'm listening to the mic and the cab and just gripping all the controls at once. But that requires knowing how the amp reacts, which is very different to a sim, because generally sims are quite forgiving. Hello, Chris. Excuse me, that's a proper do-do-do-doof at the end there. There we go. Next, Tom. There's so much high frequency that we're just getting rid of here. I mean, I want the high end boost in the toms, because listen to that sounds glorious. You play drums for a jazz trio. Well, in that case, that will work. But if you play drums in a jazz trio, you're playing jazz drums, arguably. For rock, it gets dropped down and rings get pulled off. Then that's completely fair. But yeah, then in that case, do be aware that what you say in a chat on a video will get taken out of context if you don't give that context up front. Because, and I've learned this the hard way. I say things without context, and then people look at me like I've got two heads. That's one of the reasons why I'm quite verbose as a teacher, and I say a lot of things to try and give as much context as possible. And it does mean that I get a lot of complaints on YouTube videos of, oh, this guy's boring, he talks too much, stop talking. It's like, no, if I stop talking, I don't give you proper context. If I don't give you proper context, then you're going to think that I'm giving you the wrong advice. Context is everything. And yeah, you want rock toms? These are rock toms. That's the 16. So much ride in there, though. But yeah, no samples on there, ladies and gentlemen. No samples on these toms at all. There is a little bit of transient design work going on. But yeah. These are very ringy toms indeed. Let's just delete that. See, I want that to ring a bit longer. Yeah, like that. I can hear it resonating because of the toms, because of the kick drum, sorry, which happens to a degree, it just does. There we go. Sorry this is taking so long, everybody, but it's got to be done. You'll be shocked just how clear the mix sounds once all this bleed is taken out the tom mics. No samples, but I do wonder, you lay out any in post? Oh, I do use sample augmentation on the kick and the snare, because you kind of have to. There is no kick on this earth that gets the sound that you think it gets. And snares, just as much as we love them, there is zero isolation in amongst the rest of the kit. So unless you've got the perfect mic setup, you do end up blending in something that sounds really nice and can be EQ'd without bringing up all the bleed. And there's Scott giving me grief over my snare sounds. Yeah. Hi, Scott. This is a circle thing now because I did a similar roast to Scott a while back. And now for the 18, this is just going to sound silly. Yeah, I actually had to take out a lot of the low end on the 18 on the previous song because there wasn't enough space in the mix for it. It was actually taking up the next half a second. But I might be able to restore it on a slower track. See, I can feel there. Oh, I've not removed any low end. That's interesting. But if I go down to 100 and just bump a shelf on that. A bit more. Sonar Artist bronze snare. Nice. But that's the thing, even the best drums in the world have things like that going on because physics. Unfortunately, physics and drums don't really like each other. And that's a real thorn in my side. Ooh, let's add a little bit more dung. Might have to fade that out a bit more. Ooh, that stops nicely with a dumph. Come on, and again. Yeah, it's quite a short one, relatively speaking, but it's quite a natural drop off. That just lost a tom there. Where are you? I wonder if they were mic'd up with 421s, which do sound nice, but are notorious for bleed. I've stopped using 421s on toms. Yeah, even the Black Album has samples. Very much so. I mean, some of it isn't, but most of it is. Funny story, most of the albums that you listen to will actually have the Black Album snare sampled on it from Sad But True. It's just a very common layer that a lot of drummers have on records. Looks like that's the end for the 18. What mics do I use for toms? Depends on the day and the band, but a good one is the SE Electronics V7X or V-Beats, which have a hypercardioid pattern, which is very good at rejection. Sounds similar to the 421, but with a little bit of EQing, gets to the same place. And, I mean, let's be honest with each other, in metal, we EQ the toms anyway. There's Audix F-Series tom mics have a lot of great rejection. Even one of my favourites recently is using the Slate ML2 virtual mic pencil mics in 421 mode. They sound like 421s, but they don't have nearly as much bleed on them. That really works. Audix D2s for the racks and D4s for the floor. Oh, well, colour me surprised. I mean, the D4s on the floor toms, now you say it, I can hear that authority. Well, let's listen to this now that it's been trimmed. Here we go. Right, so the first thing that I've just learned here is that now that I've taken out all that high-end bleed from the toms, yeah, the Slate ML2s are great when they work. When they don't work, they're a huge pain in the backside. And I've learned that you have to keep them warm and keep them dry when you are not using them. And I mean bone dry, because they... oh, tape machine's not turned on. They, if they're slightly cold, they've got a little bit of condensation in, they crackle, and it's awful, and it really damages your recordings. Right, let's bring these guitars in now. Too quiet and then fade them in. Right, there's a coming from somewhere. It's starting to sound good, but there's something in there that I need to find. It's on this guitar. It needs a couple of notches taken out by the sound of it. Oh, sorry, everybody. Oh, there it is. And let's search for a second one. That's better. Those notches, and you've got to find them on every guitar, they kill you. They are way too loud now, those strings. That's great. That's what I want. I don't need any more than I need. You know what I mean? Sounds like I'm going to have to... it looks like there's no processing on this group, so I can get rid of the synth group, because the previous song had a whole load of effects in. I can add a volume automation on there to just fade it out over that long string piece there. there we go. This clean sound had a bit of a radio effecty thing going on at 1K. So bye-bye 1K. Right, let's do the Reaper thing now. Stripping show action list, silence, auto trim, remove split at -80-ish, process. Nice clean. Why are you not? Don't tell me these are 16-bit files. Oh dear. Interesting that I can get a mix this good out of 16-bit files. But that's fine. Let's have a look. Right, so anyway, they fade into the heavy section there, so I'm just going to fade them out so we don't get this horrible stuttering effect. And yeah, ideally, I'd like files to be recorded and mixed at 24-bit and exported at 24-bit. But this just goes to show that you don't actually need that. It's just a nice thing to have and a preference. It means that you get an extra 40 dB of noise floor at the bottom. There we go, that's more like it. Which means that if you really need to compress something or you really need to bring the quiet bits up, you're not then fighting a noise floor. But in a full mix, it can quite often just be like, who cares? I mean, I care, but I don't have to care. You know what I mean? My experience has told me that, you know, we fight ourselves a lot of the time. So let's just select all of these and just delete 21 tracks of vocals and start with just one. And let's start bringing in vocals because I have a feeling I'm going to want to change a lot of things about these. Why did I close my thing? There we go. Should probably not be showing you that just in case there's anything on there. SkyeAsylum album, everything. Because yeah, we've got many tracks of vocals. I'm going to make sure that snap is on and bring that in. Probably at bar 5 because it looks like everything else starts at bar 5 and that would be silly not to. Al says, yeah, sounds good to be passive monitor controller. Hey, they're not all bad, but yeah, cheers. Right, let's have a look at this. Emotions come fast as I move away. I realize now there's no quick escape. Tuning. Right, so I'm going to turn off Soothe on this for a minute. I'm going to turn off the EQs because this sounds like if I just turn off the effects on here for just a minute, let's just clean this right up. Emotions come fast as I move away. I realize now there's no quick escape. Yeah, probably going to want de-esser on here because that's just standard. Emotions come fast as I move away. I realize now. Oh, nice mic that I'm using. This is the new Shure MV7. This is the USB kind of upgrade, if you will, to the SM7B. But yeah, I like with vocals like this to slam them into 2 compressors. It just gives me a big, right on the nose pop sound. And it sounds good. You can definitely hear where the tuning's been a bit head here, but if that's the style of the song, that's what we roll with. Emotions come fast as I move away.
I realize now there's no quick escape.
Yeah, that vocal's been recorded in a very dry booth, which means I can use an all buttons version of this. Where's the monster? Because the monster is my favorite vocal compressor. There we go.
Emotions come fast as I
On.
Emotions come fast as I move away.
Right, it looks like I've got loads going on the vocal group here. So that's just a bus compressor. I only EQ into compressors if there is if there's a problem that needs to be EQ'd. This sounds like it doesn't have a problem. If in worst case scenario, I will EQ to fix something going into a compressor, then EQ again afterwards to get the sound I want.
Emotions come fast as I move away. I realize now there's no quick escape. I realize.
Oh, no.
There's no.
Is it just a random click in there? That's just a really rough edit.
There's no quick escape. Emotions come fast as I move away. I realize now there's no quick escape.
There we go. Let's take a couple of dB out of the low mids because it sounded a bit muffly. But again, this is without context. So let's try this in the mix now and just see if this at Unity sounds right.
Emotions come fast as I move away. I realize now there's no quick escape. Emotions come fast as I move away. I realize now there's no quick escape. And just feel as the fire burns inside.
That sounded quite nice. I'll probably add a couple more dB of high end on this just to give it that sheen.
And just feel as the fire burns inside.
Even scoop more low end out.
And just feel as the fire burns inside.
Swap that high EQ out for the higher presence band.
And just feel as the fire burns inside.
Ah, that fader's above 0. Don't want that.
And just feel as the fire burns inside.
Male vocals always sound good when you slam them into a transformer.
And just feel as the fire burns inside.
I'm going to get rid of the bus de-esser and bring that back later. Fresh Air is quite heavy-handed at the moment, but that's what we landed on for the song, so I'm going to leave that on the vocal bus. And then, yeah, vocal bus, just richness. Okay, I feel like this... a natural woman... No, bar 5. As I add more layers, because, oh boy, I've got a lot of layers to add in here. As I add more layers, this is going to almost compose itself, this song. So I'm going to duplicate this track and add in John 1B. Yeah, nice grit in those vocals. Yeah. And the fact that I really heavily compress at the several stages means that that comes out. Let's just call these... There we go.
Just feel as the fire burns inside.
Right, okay. So that's what I'd call a double. And Double is fine. Doubles get different treatment from me. They get pitch doublers, ADTs. Oh, there we go. Sorry, excuse me. Let's just duplicate these many times. Until we've got far too many. And just rename them all. This is just organizational purposes for now. These will probably all be changed in sound. Chorus 1. I'm just going to call this chorus 2. Probably going to end up with 6 choruses by the look of it. This is a lot of processing, I know, but let's see where we get, because I genuinely don't know how this goes. CH5 and CH6. It might have to get creative, so we'll see what happens at bar 5, because I've now got space for all of these to drop in. Separate tracks, please. Let's just let this do me some nice, what's the word? Creative. Right, so I've got 2A and 2B.
Sight has no sound, yeah. The sight has no sound to show the way. I realize now why you say so. Please come take my soul. And I just feel as the fire burns inside to make this very real. There's no better way.
It's funny you say that'll be heavy on the CPU. It just starts grinding there. This is an Intel laptop, actually, because I'm at home. It's one of the 8750H 6-core monsters. So poor thing is screaming there a little bit. But we carry on. So what I'm going to do is open up the mixer. How many of these did I add? Yes. So I'm going to cheat a little bit. These two are now one track, and I know they overlap, but
And just feel as the fire burns inside.
so this is the ad-libs in chat. So the first thing that's going to happen here is the low end is just gone.
And just feel as the fire burns inside to make.
And so's that horrible mid thing.
And just feel as the fire burns inside to make.
There we go. And this will now have micro shift on it. Do I teach mixing by Skype? Sometimes when I can find time. But micro shift does a pitch up on one side and a pitch down on one side, very subtly, like not massively, but it sounds like this.
And just feel as the fire burns inside.
Which doesn't sound very nice, but if I blend that under the main vocal, watch this.
And just feel as the fire burns inside to make this very real. There's no better way for me to say when the ocean shouted to me every single day.
Right. Looking at this, I don't know if I want 3 of each vocal on the choruses. I know what the intention here is. The intention here is to make it bigger and thicker, and I get that. But what I'm probably going to do, I mean, what's happening here?
In every single breath I feel, you're my everything.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the effects on these two, mute them, and effectively just put them in the trash. Because I'm going to be doing a similar thing that makes everything sound big, but also mono-compatible, but also tighter. No, I don't pan backing vocals because that's what Microshift essentially does, but in a much cleverer way. Microshift is based on the old Eventide presets where the subtle pitch shifting up and down does a pseudo stereo effect that is much tighter controlled than panned vocals. Doesn't shift the stereo image around. It's been common since about 1978, but it's this bit of an industry secret that's actually not that secret. So I've got harmonies, and then I've got all of Alexa's vocals to go in as well. So I'm not going to go crazy on the automation here yet, because I've got about another 10 to 12 tracks of vocals to get in here. I'm just going to trim these down. So okay. So I'm going to make a John verse group, stick them in there. I'm going to make a John chorus group and stick all of these in there. And first thing I'm going to do is all those changes that I made to this track with Microshift, I'm going to do that to the second. I'm just going to copy across to the second vocal of each of these. That way I know these are consistent. Yes, Microshift is by Sound Toys. There are alternative ways of doing it, but that's just the best way that doesn't take you a week. Because if I did use all 3 vocals, I could use some sort of time alignment tool and I could spend an hour doing it. But in my humble opinion, that wouldn't give me any more pleasing a result than the method that I like and has worked since the dawn of time. Right, those 2 bits there and those 2 bits there, they may well need to be on their own separate tracks later on, so I can really scoop the mids out of them, put a floaty delay on them, have them in a separate thing, because they're not chorus vocals, which means I'm not going to treat them like this. See, that sounds nice, but all I have to do to make that sound bigger than the verse is flip the volume on these. Actually, what I'm going to do is, take out the SSL consoles and copy these in the wrong way round. And what I'm doing here is now the main vocal has a bit of a low mid and a high mid scoop to take some out of there. Do I use ping pong delay? Yes, I do. I like ping pong delay. But then the other vocal now has that high mid in there and has more low end in it. So let's just see if that's reversed the dominance of the wider vocal. There we go. Sorry, I just wanted to check that at maximum volume. Should have mentioned that. Sorry, don't go deaf. That's really starting to come together now. Yeah, the delay's a little bit light-handed at the moment. The delay's Echo Boy from Sound Toys. For this song, it's probably going to need to be cleaner and louder, so I'm going to switch from the Memory Man to the studio tape. Does the channel strip plugin make it sound like it's coming through a console? Yeah, generally, that's the idea. Only really works when you stack it up over and over and over. Also, the kind of line preamp section of that that console comes into play. The style of EQ and the way that the EQ works comes into play. The actual sounds of the dynamics of the... I like the sound of the SSL 9000 series desks. Woke up your new neighbour, Sartwell. I've played around with a 9000 plus K series SSL desk down at Real World Studios in Wiltshire, and it was so good. What wine am I drinking? Not very much, but I was drinking an Argentinian Malbec. So yeah, cheers. Threat signal, yeah. Absolutely. So now this is where it gets really interesting. So I've got harmonies to add for both singers. So what I'm going to do is take away the mixing window again. I'm going to just duplicate all of this, and this is really going to make the poor machine chug. But make sure they're still in the vocal group, but just grouped together. So Alexa verse and Alexa chorus. And let's see, let's just delete all the audio out of this duplicate that I've made, because that's how we save time. Magical Unicorn Cabernet Sauvignon. Not a big fan of Cabernet Sauvignon. It tastes like feet to me. So let's let's drag this into here. This should be on there. And let's just Alexa verse. So I've got PC and I've got CH for her. Let's just see what they are. But anyway, let's. Oh, I'm still soloed on the delay. Whoa. Let's just turn off all the effects and listen. Right, so firstly, I can tell you that her headphones were well too loud. But also, aside from that, let's look at the compressors on her vocal, because that's way too aggressive. She doesn't need nearly that much by the sound of it. Yeah, I need a much cleaner edit than that on these.
Emotions come fast as I move away. I realize now there's no quick
Yeah, cool. Okay, so that's going to need a bit of work to make them fit together, but I can see where we're going. Definitely going to need to clean up the breaths in there because
Forgotten
Past that comes today. I realize now.
I find that to be a classic opera thing. They think they're being quiet when they breathe, and they're really not.
I realize now why the skies were.
I mean, it's okay. It's just a thing.
The heroes left. The heroes left to show the way. I realize.
Yeah, there we go.
I realize now. Forgotten past that comes today.
I realize now. I realize.
There's one on John's as well.
I realize. I realize now why the skies were so gray. The hero is left to show the way. I realize now why you say so. Please come take my soul and just feel as the fire burns inside.
Right, so let's bring in these that are PC left and PC right. Let's see what these are. Get them in place on bar 5 with a snappy snap. And might need to just dedicate some different tracks to these. We'll see.
So please come take my soul and just feel as the fire burns inside. To make this very real, there's no better way.
PC means pre-chorus. Got ya. Okay. That's where these go. These are going to be... I'm just going to, again, duplicate the folder. I know I don't need these now. I might just keep all 3 of her vocal chorus lines just for variety, because variety is a good way to play with the ear. But we'll see. It might not work. Yeah. If in doubt, make things different. Because I've got loads and loads of B for bridge, harmony, harmony, harmony. Let's just name them pre-chorus, chorus. So I've got 3 tracks for this, 3 tracks for that, 3 tracks for everything. Separate the tracks. Right, so these. Oh, they Right, I'll come back to the harmony vocals. But yeah, let's strip the silence off these. Action list. Type for silence. Oh, remove silence. Yes, please. Go. Thank you.
When the ocean shout to me every single day.
How many tracks are there in the project? Well, I've got some blank ones at the end for padding. but not including them, we're at 91, and I've got another D4, 5, D4, 5, 6, 7, 8, another 9 or so to add in, so we're going to be at roughly 100 tracks. Shouldn't matter how many tracks there are, really, if you're foldering everything properly, and don't need that garbled track, which is a pitch shifter. Shouldn't need that. Let's listen to this.
The ocean shout out to me.
Oh, that's harsh as you like. So I'm going to put a stereo waves de-esser on here that's probably really quite low down. I'm going to listen to the side chain as I do this.
When the ocean shout out to me. When the ocean shout out to me. When the ocean shout out to me. Every single day. When the ocean shout out to me. When the ocean shout out to me. Every single day. When the ocean shout out to me. Every single day. The scene that never fades away. Is this all meant to be? A world that's dark, with no way to see. In every single breath I feel, you're my everything.
Right, so those ones need to be less compressed because there's too many stacks going on. So what I want is, let's start with just a 2A.
When the ocean shout out to me. Every single day. The scene that never fades away. Is this all meant to be? A world that's...
Okay. That's more like it, I think. These particular vocals, when we're starting to stack up loads of them, then too much compression is just too much. This is now 3 copies. I've just copied this across to the others.
When the ocean shout out to me. Every single day. The scene that never fades away. It's just all meant to be. A world that's dark. When the ocean shout out to me. Every single day. The scene that never fades away. It's just all meant to be. A world that is dark, with no way to see. In every single breath I feel, you're my everything.
Creed 99. Oh, so what? Just more low end, no mids, and more Scott Stapp.
When the ocean shout out to me, every single day, the scene that never fades away. It's just all meant to be. A world that is dark, with no way to see. In every single breath I feel, you're my everything.
Funny thing is, I kind of liked Creed, except for the whole, like, over the top, the thing. That's why I like Tremonti solo stuff.
Emotions come fast as I move away. I realize now there's
Right. here's another mixing trick. I do have more vocals to add in. I'm actually going to make a backing vocals group, and I'm just going to add in a ton of tracks. And at this point, I'm just going to add in... Oh, she's struggling now, boys. I may have pressed that too many times. Uh-oh. Goodbye. Just going to put all them in there as a folder. Make sure I'm snapped to 5 bars, and I'm just going to add in every vocal channel that I have yet to add in. Harmony, mono, left and right. Because these will get treated differently. So I added too many tracks. Cool. Let's make these a colour just so I can see it in the mix. One random colour, not pink. I know I said random, but come on. Ugh, that's a horrible colour. Is that even a colour? That's more like it. A nice lilac. So...
Every single day, the scene that never fades away. Is this all meant to be? A world that is dark.
Right, so each one of these is going to get its own SSL 9000J that scoops out a lot of that low end. Compresses it 4:1-ish.
Every single day, the scene that never fades away. Is this all meant to be? A world that is dark with no way to see.
There we go. And make sure I'm making use of the expander on these tracks. And take some low end out as well, just so it really fits in the mix. There we go. Make sure the expander is on high with arms wide open. Anyone who is a subscriber to Riff Hard this month's brief has been announced, by the way. And it is, I'm just going to trim silence out of here. It is new metal anyway, and I'm a big fan of new metal, so I'm very much in my element here. No complaints from me. So there we go. That's copied across. I'm going to just pan these, not hard pan them, but just make sure they're quite wide. And one of these in the center, one hard left, one hard right, and just bring all of these into a group. What's that? They're really quiet for some reason. So they need to be louder so they trigger the expander. Probably about right. Lots of room, but lots of delay on this.
Sound to shame. The sight has no sound to show the way. When the ocean for me to sail to, when the ocean shines today, every single day, the scene that never fades away. It's all meant to be. We know that it's dark, you know it's
Yeah, these are in the wrong place. Pretty sure I've messed up. Yep, there we go. Derp. That's the kind of derp that happens to us all. They were supposed to start at bar 5 and instead they start at bar... What? What are you doing? Why are you not snapping to... Oh no, what have I done? Mesa V30 with an SM57. Have scooped the mids though, actually. There we go. Right, let's try this again in place. There's something weird's going on here. Have I accidentally time stretched these? No, I haven't. What's going on? Oh. Whoa. No, thanks. Whatever that was. Undo. Yeah, the room's so big I actually had to get up out of my seat. I know. It is a little bit Seether-y broken. I did always like that song until I realised that he was a horrible, horrible person.
Now, why you say so? Please come take my soul.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go through and trim these vocals if that's going to keep happening. Because, yeah.
For me to stay when the ocean shines out to me every single day. The scene that never fades away. It's a song meant to be. A world that is dark, with no way to see. In every single breath I feel, you're my everything. Even if the sky does fall, even if they take it all away, just take it all away. Even if the stars don't call, even if the stars don't call, even if the heart,
Yep. I need to clean out all these.
even if the heart withdraws from me, you can take it, you can take it all away. When the oceans shout out to me every single day, the scene that never fades away. It's a song meant to be. You're my everything. Every single breath I feel, you're my everything.
Right.
Shout out to me every single day. The thing that
Right, so now we start to nail down like the secondary vocal here has way too much compression on for such a dense arrangement.
shout out to me every single day. The thing that never fades away. It's just all meant to be. A world that is dark with no way to see.
Okay, why did I create a group for effects? Good question. Partly just neatness. If I want to listen to them all in one go, I can just solo all of them. Partly if I ever have to export the separate groups for this, so actual stems. I don't know, let's say this song gets famous and ends up on Rock Band. Then you might want the separate things like that. Then... yeah, that's why. It's just experience over the years has told me to do that. It's an extra little step that takes me 10 seconds and saves me a lot of hassle in the long run. So yeah, the waveforms for that, it is visual. It's not about waveform gain. It's about frequency. It's a thing in Reaper called spectral peaks. Like this blue here, that is a... or a sibilant. Any dark blue stuff is plosives. That's a high belt of a note, which on a vocal means I can see things very quickly. I can see that that's bass because it's all purple, which means it's super low. Yeah, it's something you engage in Reaper by going to View, Peaks Display Settings, and then setting Spectral Peaks. And you can also add some display gain, which makes things look bigger than they are. So you can be comfortable with turning things down and still see everything that's going on. It means I can see problems as they occur, and I can see very quickly in a dense mix like this where the problems are. I'm beginning to remember why I stopped using this mouse. I just found this old mouse in one of my boxes. It's the old Microsoft Blue Track mouse. It's got a kind of a flat mouse wheel, which is kind of cool, but just, yeah, I don't like it. That's why it wouldn't snap properly earlier, because I'm an idiot.
There's no sound to show the way. I realize now why you say so. Please come take my soul and just stay. I realize now there's no. I realize now there's no quick escape. The sight has no sound now. There's no quick escape.
Okay, so there's an interesting kick pattern there, but it looks intentional, so I'm going to carry on.
Now there's no quick escape. The sight has no sound to show the way. I realize now why you say so. Please come take my soul. And just feel as the fire burns inside to make this very real. There's no better way.
Hello, everybody. Back now. Sorry about that. My Powerline Ethernet has just decided to randomly have a fit. I'll be investigating that. But in the meantime, we're back. I'm actually streaming on Wi-Fi, which is what I always say not to do. But yeah, for whatever reason, that was weird. I am back. So, on with the show. Yeah, weird. He seems happy enough over there now. Now I've stopped. Great.
For me to say when the ocean shout out to me every single day, the scene that never fades away.
Ah, yes, Scott did ask about the snare chain before I started quietly swearing. Now let's have a look. I don't think I actually used Slate on the snare at all. Sorry, dude. Yeah, not getting Cat 6 in the house, I'm afraid. It's power line or nothing. Although if we keep getting issues like this, then I might just drill some holes and just say to the landlord, look, sorry. But yes, so the snare is gatey-weighty. Just gating the top off the snare. No, it's gating the bottom off the snare, so we don't get that. Infinity Strip has given me a VCA compressor to give me some more slam. Just a few dB. The SSL is doing a lot of the heavy lifting with a lot of high frequency there. A compressor that's quite heavy and an expander. I'll get to them. So the unfiltered audio is bass mint, and this can give you a magical poof on kicks, on snares, on bass. It's genius. And in this case, I've used it on Resonate because it just gets an extra on the bottom. And then Transgressor is from Boz Labs. This is incredible. Without it, the snare, actually without the sample as well, the snare sounds like this. It's a really good snare, but it's quite high and quite poppy. And then Transgressor, Transgressor separately gives me 3 bands of gain I can play with on the transient, and 3 separate bands I can play with on the sustain. So it's like a multi-band transient designer. It's absolute genius, and it can make things pop. And then the snare trigger, which is the real genius, is Only one sample, and I think that's from the Drum Shots Billy Decker. Let me just find it. Yeah, it's a Billy Decker sample that just subtly underneath the snare, because if I go too heavy it sounds like crap. And because it sounded too polished and too poppy with the I took a load of the high end out of the sample. Alright, so we're getting there. We're not quite there yet. I think the male vocal, now I've got some context, is a bit too kind of honky in the upper mids.
Fast as I move away, I realize now there's no quick escape. The sight has no sound to show the way. Fast as I move away, I realize now there's no quick escape. The sight has no sound.
Right, so I've taken just a little bit out there at 2K. Not a lot, but enough. Just a bit at 2K. There we go. Oh, hello. Just made me jump.
Down to show the way. I realize now why you say so. Please come take my soul. And just feel as the fire burns inside to make this very real. There's no better way for me to say when the ocean shout out to me.
Right, so those ad-lib vocals, I think I want them to be louder all the time. Oh, thanks for the donation, Al. Always appreciated. Cheers. Right, so ad-lib. Let's have a look. I can probably take the compressor off that. Peak reduction less, gain more. On this is on that second vocal here, the one that's kind of sat back. The micro. Oh, that's a bit too pokey in the mids. Let's take the high end out. No, what I want to do with this, it requires some extra muscle. So I'm going to take that EQ off and I'm going to use a second EQ on this, just a Neve one. There we go. So I'm taking a significant chunk out at 3K there and really raising the top with a Neve shelf.
And just feel as the fire burns inside to make this very real. There's no better way for me to say.
Right, I'm going to bring the volume, the overall volume of this whole section down because it's just killing everything.
Headphones
thumbs up for me.
I realize now why you say so. Please come take my soul and just feel as the fire burns inside to make this feel real.
That copy, the right, that needs to be way higher. Yeah, the DBX telecompressor. VCAs are the more modern kind of forward compressors that really get you in the face.
You say so, please come take my soul and just feel as the fire burns inside to make this feel real. There's no better way for me to say when the ocean shout out to me every single day.
Thank you for the donation from SkyeAsylum, and that's massively appreciated. And Marcus says, yeah, Scott, check out Plugin Alliance. They've got a lot of sales going on stuff like Basement. I use their mix bundle, which is $15 a month, which is quite reasonable, really, for some of the ridiculous stuff that you get going on there. But yeah, let's have a listen to this.
When the ocean shout out to me every single day, the scene that never fades away. Is this all meant to be? A world that is dark.
Yeah, this is sounding good. So I'm going to shove the entire backing through a 4000E rather than a 9000J. And I'm just going to drive it quite hard.
When the ocean shout out to me every single day, the scene that never fades away. Is this all meant to be? A world that is dark with no way to see. In every single breath I feel, you're my everything.
Right, so I've taken quite a lot out at 1K on the backing vocals. Hopefully that'll sit them in the mix. Come on solo. Poor thing's struggling now.
When the ocean shout out to me every single day, the scene that never fades away. It's all meant to be. A world that is dark with no way to see.
Right, I'm going to use a bus compressor on the backing vocals to try and glue them all together a bit. 4 to 1.
When the ocean shout out to me every single day, the scene that never fades away. This is all meant to be. A world that is dark.
And just a de-esser, quite a heavy de-esser on the backing vocals, I think, because I don't want the extra S's to mess things up. If they're perfectly in time, they'll make the main ones too much. If they're out of time, it'll cause a problem.
When the ocean shout out to me every single day, the scene that never fades away. Is this all meant to be? A world that is dark with no way to see. In every single breath I feel, you're my everything. Every single day, the scene that never fades away. Is this all meant to be? A world that's dark with no way to see. And every single breath I feel, and every single breath.
another really obvious breath. Get rid.
And every single breath I feel, you're my everything.
Yeah, this needs a little something.
And the ocean shout out to me every single day. The scene that never fades away. Is this all meant to be? A world that's dark with no way to see. And every single breath I feel, you're my everything.
Well, that's made these thicker, these vocals, but I'm going to try micro shift just on this group of Alexis chorus vocals. Not 100% wet, and one of the other styles which is far more obvious.
And the ocean shout out to me every single day. The scene that never fades away. Is this all meant to be? A world that is dark with no way to see. And every single breath I feel, you're my everything.
There we go. Getting a bit creative with those chorus vocals. So now we turn on the main male vocal again.
When the ocean shout out to me every single day, the scene that never fades away. Is this all meant to be? A world that is dark with no way to see. In every single breath I feel, you're my everything.
Right, gonna reorder it a little. There we go.
Forgotten past that comes today. I realize now why the skies were so gray.
There we go. Just backing off the top end on the vocal. Master chain right now. Okay, master chain is more than I thought it was. So it's my Shadow Hills Class A, which is actually being hit quite hard. Then I've got a black box design, which gives me some valve niceness. Ozone's images giving us a little stereo width on top. I've got, it looks like I decided on only one bus compressor there, the SSL grey, because of the Shadow Hills Class A. And Ozone's Pultec style is giving me quite a high frequency lift, and then just a little cut at 10k to offset that. Because I do tend to mix a touch dark. So yeah, without all that, it still sounds good. Yeah, it's a good. It's not mastering. It's just a nice chain. So, apart from Flatline, which is for the exports, which slams the life out of it, a lot of it is subtleties.
but so great. The hero is left to show the way. I realize now why you say so. Please come take my soul and just feel as the fire burns. Why you say so? Please come take my soul.
Right, so this group, I can already hear this has got way too much high-end build up on these.
Why you say so? Please come take my soul and just feel as the fire burns inside to make this feel real.
Is these another one where I've gone a little heavy-handed with the compressors on these? On the male vocals, they were perfect. On the female ones, are too much.
Why you say so? Please come take my soul and just feel as the fire burns inside to make this very real. There's no better way for me to say when the ocean shines.
Oh, you think something's bugging you? There's loads of stuff bugging me now. I've got so many channels to get through. But I'm so close, but my ears are starting to burn out a little bit. I've been doing this nearly 4 hours now. I need a bit of a... or is it 4 hours? No, 3 hours. A little bit of a stretch. But if I have more wine, then my faculties will diminish rapidly. Generally speaking, the vocals are just too loud in general at the moment. But that's very much something that I need to get right. Start. Synergy's not working. This is the kind of issue I used to have. Great. Everything works fine until the slightest thing knocks it down. Yeah, let's listen from the start. Doof doof. Where are you?
Emotions come fast as I move away. I realize now there's no emotions come fast as I move away. I realize now there's no quick escape.
No quick escape.
The sight has no sound to show the way. I realize now why you say to show the way. I
Definitely the wrong
realize
place.
now show the way. I realize now show the way. I realize now why you say so. Please come take my soul and just feel as the fire take my soul. Just feel as the fire.
Yeah, I'm just going to put snap on a second and I'm going to shift those two little bits down into the backing vocal section because then the EQ should do the right thing. Yes, an arrangement like this is vocal hell, but you roll with the punches.
So please come take my soul and just feel as the fire burns inside
just too loud. By a significant amount.
No quick escape.
The sight has no sound to show the way.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of just automation work here, I feel. I'm just going to turn this whole section down by a few dB. It's not going to sound right now, but...
Emotions come fast as I move away. I realize now there's no quick escape.
No quick escape.
The sight has no sound to show the way. I realize now why you say so. Please come take my soul. The scene that never fades away. Is this all meant to be? A world that is dark with no way to see. In every single breath I feel, you're my forgotten past that comes today. I realize now why the skies were so gray. The hero is left to show the way. I realize now why you say so. Please come take my soul. Forgotten past that comes today. I realize now why the skies were so gray. The hero is left to show the way. I realize now why you say so. Please come take my soul.
Right, so I can hear things poking through from the backing vocal, which means that Soothe is going to be our friend here. Okay, that's been driven too hard now.
Please come take my soul. Please come take my soul.
Yeah. Yeah, that sorted the backing vocals right out. Let's try bringing the main vocals back in now. We're still going to have a lot of the problems we had. It's not a magic fix. It kind of is a magic fix. But some of the problems will now have sorted themselves out.
I realize now why the skies were so gray. The hero is left to show the way. I realize now why you say so. Please come take my soul. And just feel as the fire burns inside to make this very real. There's no better way.
Right, let's try Soothe on the master vocal group, but just very, very, very gently. And make sure it's super high quality on the export. I'm going to make it double because why not? Yeah, so I am going to do what I can manually, and it's not a catch-all, but it can be on backing vocals.
I realize now why the skies were so gray. The hero is left to show the way. I realize now why you say so. Please come take my soul. And just feel as the fire burns inside to make this very real. There's no better way for me to say. When the ocean shout out to me every single day, the scene that never fades away. It's a song meant to be. World that is dark with no way to see. In every single breath I feel, you're my everything. Even if the sky does fall, even if they take it all away, just take it all away. Even if the stars don't call, even if the heart withdraws from me, you can take it. You can take it all away.
Question: Soothe 2, Vice de-esser, UAD, Precision de-esser. Out of those three, I would definitely pick Soothe by a long way because it's not a de-esser. It can do that, but it can also do a whole host of other things. The reason that I used that on the backing vocal group was not as a de-esser. I actually used it because I could hear lower frequencies than S's, like in the 1K, 2K range that occasionally peaked out that I wanted to control. And I generally tone sculpted to get that with EQ, but then there's only so much compression you can do before you kill it. And when you kill it, you end up having to go through and either manually do things or dynamic EQ things. But Soothe is like a cross between a dynamic EQ and a de-esser, and it's very lovely. And yeah, it's not fixed every problem I have here, but funnily enough, all that stuff from the kick that people are like, oh, the kick's too loud, needs to come back now. Too much. Let's get those toms so they really just go like. Right. I'm going to do a pass where I listen through the song. Music, hello, welcome back. I'm going to do a pass where I listen through the song and the vocals and all that kind of stuff without the heavy rhythm guitars in there. Because then I'll have a much clearer idea of the vocal balance, and I can always reshape the tone of the guitars around the heaviest sections of the vocals then, if it works otherwise.
Emotions come fast as I move away. I realize now there's no quick escape. The sight has no sound to show the way. I realize now why you say so. Please come take my soul. The scene that never fades away. When the oceans shout out to me every single day. The scene that never fades away.
Right, that needs a more drastic cut on these harmonies on the lows, because it seems like they're just not doing.
When the oceans shout out to me every single day.
Let's just have a look at the effects on these. Do we have... No, we don't have the killer...
with no way to see. In every single breath I feel, you're my everything. So meant to be, a world that is dark, with no way to see. In every single breath I feel, you're my everything.
That's what's catching my ear. 1.7k. Don't need much, but out you go.
So meant to be, a world that is dark, with no way to see. In every single breath I feel, you're my everything. So meant to be, a world that is dark, with no way to see. In every single breath I feel, you're my everything.
Right, I'm going to change this round because I'm not using this as a de-esser on this vocal. I'm using it because I can hear an upper mid cut and I want that to be tamed.
So meant to be, a world that is dark, with no way to see. In every single breath I feel, you're my everything.
There might just end up being a copy of Soothe on every group here because wow, there's a lot to fight.
The ocean shout out to me every single day. The scene that never fades away. It's just all meant to be. A world that is dark, with no way to see. In every single breath I feel, you're my forgotten plans that comes today. I realize now why the skies were so gray. The hero is left to show the way. I realize now why you say so. Please come take my soul. So please come take my soul and just feel as the fire.
I'll take that and copy it to the pre-chorus and see if that does that.
Why you say so? Please come take my soul and just feel as the fire burns inside to make this very real. There's no better way. Why you say so? Please come take my soul and just feel as the fire burns inside.
There we go. Take the depth down a bit. Make sure I'm catching that honk around there. The Celine Dion frequency, as it were. Freeze some tracks? What's that then? What's freezing tracks? Kidding, but...
Why you say so? Please come take my soul and just feel.
About
Shout out to me every single day. The scene that never fades away. It's just all meant to be. A world that is dark, with no way to see.
UAD plugins, yeah. Let's not talk about UAD plugins, and I'm not a fan for many reasons. Ooh, what reverbs did I decide on? Good question. My snare reverb is the Verb Suite Crystal Algae snare from the Sony DRE 2000, which is wonderful. It's got kind of a double release. So it gives you that big pop sound. My plate is Lustrous Plates from Slate. Looks like I picked the silver plate. Looks like I've not actually sent any vocal out to the plate. And this, right, well, there's tons of sends to the... I'm going to take off all the room reverb sends on these individual vocals while I think about it. Just with a swift alt click. And I'm going to add that onto the vocal... Ooh, what's happening? Onto the vocal group instead. Because then it goes through the processing before it lands on the room reverb. And also, I did notice this song's a little dry. So I can now send some of this plate reverb to the vocals. This song being slower warrants it as well. Yeah, I think the reason that UAD plugins feel like they have that extra 5% is because you've paid so much for it that there's a bit of confirmation bias going on. We don't like admitting it, but generally when we pay for things, we expect them to sound better. And there was a point when the UAD plugins did sound better than native stuff because they had the best programmers. But then I learned that a lot of the UAD plugins, you could also get native versions of exactly the same code. And so I went with native, so I can scale up on my terms and not on UAD's terms. Let's see how that plate reverb affects the mix.
Every single day, the scene that never fades away.
the other Slate reverb was my usual room reverb, the Bricasti M7 Studio B Close. That is what makes a mix sound big to me. It's a little secret weapon. Which on its own sounds pointless, but it's just like really short, well-controlled early reflections that just make everything sound bigger. Let's listen from the beginning. There we go. Sorry, I'm zoning in a bit.
The scene that never fades away. It's just all meant to be. A world that is dark with no way to see. In every single breath I feel, you're my everything.
There it is. Really specifically, let's cut a bit of that on the vocal, on the male.
The scene that never fades away. It's just all meant to be. A world that is dark with no way to see. In every single breath I feel, you're my everything.
At that point, you do hear 5 vocals, plus the harmonies, so there's all this stuff as well.
Forgotten plans that
Right, so I'm just going to use a little trick here. That guitar sounds nice, but in that kind of hang section, it just hangs too much. So I'm just going to dip it down. Not to 13 dB, that's quite a big dip, but just gently shave some volume off it so it goes down, 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 down. Pow! There we go. You don't even notice it going down really, but then you notice that it smack you in the face afterwards. Yeah. The arrangement's just a bit dense. It's probably going to take some time after the stream of me coming back to it and just picking at it, you know.
When the ocean shout out to me every single day, the sin that never fades away. This is all meant to be. A world that is dark with no way to see. In every single breath I feel, you're my everything.
Everything's kind of hanging at the end.
You're my everything. Everything.
I'm going to try the classic cut everything, including the lead guitars there.
I feel you're my everything.
And also delay off at that point.
Everything.
Off.
My everything.
Yeah, that's a nice ending now, I think. It's a nice clean end. So the song isn't finished, but from what we had when we started the stream, which was nothing, I think we've made some very good progress. Let's have a listen through what we have. We'll probably hear some little bits like bits of volume on vocals that are too loud, little high mid peaks that stand out, etc., etc. But for 3.5 hours work, yeah.
Emotions come fast as I move away. I realize now there's no quick escape.
off. I think there are little things, and I will go back after the stream when my ears are fresh on a new day, and I'll pick and I'll fine tweak. But I think as far as the stream is concerned, that is just about that. Question in chat, nice mix, but is this prog metal? This is epic prog metal. This is epic, as you can hear. It is metal, as you can hear. It's a concept album. That makes it prog. Not every track on a prog concept album has to be prog metal like Periphery. Haha. So yes, it's very much what I would call a progressive style album because it's a concept album, but not every song has to be 7/4, 9/4, 5/4, 7/4. So there you go. But yeah, this is going to have some work done to it, but as a day one thing, I'm pretty happy with that. So yes, thank you everybody for tuning in. I'm massively out of focus, so I'm going to lean in. But yes, thank you everybody for tuning in. It's been a lot of fun. It's good to be back with our mixing house. Big hiccups. Do apologise. But yes, very much looking forward to getting more of this done. Apologies again for the really weird dropout we had in the middle, but I'm going to investigate that, see what that was about. See if we can avoid it happening again. And yes, stay tuned. It won't be that long before we're back with another one of these. If you didn't see it recently, there is a video on the channel that's an interview with the CEO of Two Notes about things like that captor that is back there that we used in this very stream and more, much more. And there's more coming up. There's an interview with Dan from Rev Amps very soon. Yeah, my poor PC is screaming. Yeah. Could be the first single for the US market. I suppose it could be. Yeah. How's the little one adapted to the new house? She loves it. It's a great house for a kid. It's got soft, squishy carpets, and I've now put a big TV up in the front room where she can watch Totoro every day. Ooh. But yeah, no, everything's going well. But yeah, that is 3.5 hours and my brain hurts. So thank you everybody for tuning in, and I will see you all very soon. Thanks for watching. Thanks again to people who supported us through the super chats and through Patreon and all that stuff. That is very much appreciated, and I'll see you all very soon in the next video. Goodbye everyone. Hey everyone, that might be the end of the video, but if you fancy carrying on this conversation, we have a Discord server. Link is in the description. We're also on Patreon, which is something you can really help us with. We also are on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at Hop Hole Studios. See you there.